Good morning, everybody. Today I'm going to show you two things that every guitar player needs to know. These are important things when it comes to learning how to play the guitar. Today is May 6th, 2020, and I have no idea why I said that, but it's probably because I just woke up enjoying my first cup of coffee today. Yes, today's going to be a great day. I can just tell. This is what my E chord sounds like if you want to tune up. You want to pause and tune? Pause and tune. Pause and pray. Have you prayed today? Have you reaffirmed your faith in God that He's going to take care of you and today's going to be a good day? Well, I have. I hope you have too. Okay. Two things you need to know. We're going to start with this G chord. Remember I told you two ways to learn the G chord we need to learn? This one and this one. We're going to work on this one here where you're using all four fingers. Sounds like that. We're going to concentrate on the ring finger on the third fret of the D string. Okay. We're going to play the G chord and then we're going to leave that finger down and move it over to a D chord. Pretty simple. This note is common to both chords. So when you change from G to D, don't lift this up. It's going to make for less movement on your left hand, and it's going to make it easier to change chords smoothly. Maybe practice that for a minute. Maybe I can learn how to talk better. Now we're going to learn a new chord called C2. That's what I like to call it. Play your G like this. And these two fingers, the middle finger and the index finger, this is my complicated technique of telling you which direction to move them. Move them towards the floor. Downward, lower in elevation, higher in pitch. But I like to say, move them towards the ceiling or move them towards the floor. I'm going to use that phrase, those phrases in all these lessons going forward. Move them towards the floor, one string. So it becomes that we call a C2. Now, these two fingers here on the G chord, we're going to leave them there. And all we have to move is these two, and we're going to go back and forth between a G chord and a C2 chord. If you've ever heard the song Illumina by Joan Osborne, that's it. This is going to be something that you're going to use all the time. There's a lot of common chords, common notes in the chords we're going to be playing in these songs. Okay, that was number one. All right, the second thing every guitar player needs to know. This involves using the thumb. Now, this particular guitar has a thin neck, so my thumb can go all the way over if I wanted it to, but I don't want it to. I am not Richie Havens, in case you were wondering. What we're going to do with the thumb is we're going to use it to mute the low E string. This is something you're going to do all the time. It's just going to make your guitar sound better. It's so easy to do. And for example, if you're playing a C chord, you want to just hit it. You don't have to worry about hitting the low E string. Listen to the way this sounds. Not what we want. Not terrible, but not what we want. We want this. If you mute the low E string with your thumb, you don't have to be quite so precise with your right hand as you strum the strings. Ooh, that was a good one. Now, the way you mute it is you just touch it a little bit. You definitely don't want to press down on it, but you just want to touch it a little bit so that when you strum it, it sounds like that, not like this. Just deaden it, and that's so easy. That was the second thing. Now I want to talk a little bit about music theory regarding suspended chords, and this is my story and I'm sticking to it. A long time ago, when dinosaurs roamed the earth and I was in college, my professor taught us that a suspended chord was this. If you play a G chord, it's got the G note, and if you carry that note into the next chord, like a D, you are suspending that G note from the G chord into the D chord. And since this note is the fourth degree of a D scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, D, E, F sharp, G, it is the fourth, which has been suspended, so it's called a suspended fourth. Now here's the interesting thing. People would write that on a chart and see it and think, okay, that's a D suspended fourth. But according to my professor, a song cannot possibly start with a suspended chord, because if it's the first chord, that note can't be suspended from anything, so in that case it would be called just a D4. But people would see this written as a D sus or D suspended or D suspended 4, and they would think, okay, that's the name of that chord, and they would use that on the chord charts regardless of whether or not that note was indeed suspended from the previous chord. Sounds confusing, but it's really not that hard. You know what? When you are waking up and it's first thing in the morning and you're having some coffee, I really hope it's good coffee. This is good coffee. I like that cheap coffee from Puerto Rico. It's so rich. Okay, where was I? Suspended chords. So they would see this written as D sus, or D suspended, or D suspended fourth, and put that in no matter where it was. And it became just like the word ain't. You know, when I was a little kid and you said the word ain't, the adults would correct you and they'd tell you there ain't no such word as ain't, because ain't in the dictionary. But enough people kept saying the word ain't that it eventually became in the dictionary, and now it's a real word. Same thing with this chord. Originally, it meant that this note was suspended from the previous chord, but now a D suspended fourth really just means that there's a fourth in there. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. If you like these lessons, please hit the subscribe button. It really helps me a lot. And if you want to be notified when the next lesson comes out, just click the little bell icon. But please subscribe, and I'm so glad you're here. I love you, and God bless you. Have a great day. Common note.